Hello and welcome to Wednesday, the day of Wednesdays. It's a little bit past 10 in the morning, 10:03, and as I just planned to record, the neighbors are doing some lawn maintenance. We typically do lawn maintenance here on Thursdays. I guess the neighbors do it on Wednesdays. Who knew? Anyway, I'm here to talk about a book that I read this week. Started a couple days ago and finished it up last night. That would be Michelle Zauner's Crying in H Mart. I don't have a physical copy with me yet. I saw one in the store, like a paperback version, and I prefer hardcovers, so I'll be ordering that as soon as I press stop recording on this. But I only recently, and by recently I mean the past couple of months, got into Michelle Zauner's kind of life and her music. Now, professionally, you may know her as Japanese Breakfast. I happen to have her third studio album, Jubilee, right here, and this came out in 2021, I believe. I can't remember when exactly this came out, but I can look it up. Thanks, Wikipedia, the free encyclopedia that anyone can edit. This came out in yes, 2021, and it was nominated for a Grammy as well, I believe, for best alternative music album. This released almost 2 years ago, June 4th, so we're right about that time. I might have to actually write my next review about this, because that seems like it'd be the perfect day. Is that how that works? Yeah, review would come out June 5th. So yeah, next review, Japanese Breakfast's Jubilee. Stay tuned for that. But we're not here to talk about this right now. We're here to talk about Crying in H Mart, which is Michelle Zauner. Is it a solo act? I'm not so sure. It's mostly a solo act. Her memoir called Crying in H Mart, which is basically a retelling of her life up until the release of her first album, which was Psychopomp. Crying in H Mart is this tale and life story of Michelle Zauner, but it's all revolving around the fact that her mother died in I want to say 2014. Shout out to Wikipedia. I can just look this stuff up and just have it right available at the ready. Yeah, I believe she died in 2014. So, yeah. This novel, which I don't have. I wish I had a novel as prop. It's so good. No, I'm not gonna use this. It tells the story of Michelle, who is a Korean American, born in Korea but moved to Oregon when she was pretty young. I want to say 2 or 3 years old around that time. Yeah, while she has roots in Korea, she was born in Seoul and spent a few years of her life there and has regularly traveled back and forth from there. Her family is there, and her mom is a Korean native. Her father is a U.S. native from the U.S. and just happened to be in Korea for an international job that he took on a whim. As a result, we have now seen that Michelle has came. What am I saying? Yeah, he moved to Korea on a whim, and then he met Michelle's mother, Chongmi. I believe her father's name is Joel. Sounds right. They met. What was it? I think Michelle's mother, Chongmi, might have been a hotel worker or something along those lines. Maybe a restaurant worker. And no, it was a hotel worker, because when her father met her mother. It was at a hotel, and I believe she was front desk, something along those lines. Regardless, that's not the point of the story. It tells the tale of a Korean American girl who struggles to find her place in the world, something that feels like very relatable. While she's not Asian enough for, Korean people, or Korean enough rather, and too Asian for an American audience, as cited in the book. She says that as a kid, she felt like she was the stereotypical Asian girl who, was too Asian, even though she was half white. She would go to, I believe it was like Korean school on the weekends, like a Sunday school kind of thing, where she would spend like a couple hours just learning Korean and trying to learn the basics. And she talks about her struggle with being kind of this weird middle section where the internet wasn't widely available when she was. I think she's like, again, Wikipedia shout out. She's 34. She's talking about how as a kid, you feel like you're the odd one out. You're struggling with identifying yourself. You want to be more American when you're in America. You don't want to embrace that Korean part of yourself. But when you're in Korea, you want to embrace that. And the way she does it is by food. Food is a huge staple in this book, and it's one of the things that brings her closer to her Korean roots. Because her mother is Korean and, like, trying to teach her all these Korean ways, and she's being very rebellious and whatnot, as you do as a teenager. She's fighting and doing her best to try to be, like, as American as she can be, like, be a whole rebel and trying to, get by on her own while trying to, like, stray from those Korean roots. But when she was a kid, she was very much into that part of herself. One of the things that was really what's the word? One of the things I noticed was, like, part of the book when her mother was very, like, strict, telling her, like, how to do everything very specifically, and, like, was kind of always stern and, like, never kind of really impressed by a rebellious kid or something along those lines. But when she was, like, very young, I think I actually have that highlighted in my the app that I used to read. If I go to it, it says, how do I find it? How to find it? It's here, bookmarks. No, it's under quotes. In marked contrast to the other domains of parental authority, my mother was loose when it came to the rules regarding food. If I didn't like something, she never forced me to eat it, and if I ate only half my portion, she never made me finish my plate. She believes food should be enjoyed and that it was more of a waste to expand your stomach than to keep eating when you were full. Her only rule was that you had to try everything once. That really stood out to me so much that I bookmarked it, because as, like, it's something that, like, I never really thought of me personally. Growing up, apparently I really enjoyed, like, my parents cooking. Of Guyanese Indian heritage, everything that my parents cook nowadays is basically curry or just some kind of mush, is the way I like to describe it. It's roti, it's curry, and that curry can be like chicken, goat, duck, egg, potato, aloo, as we call it. Um, Not never pork or beef, because my mom doesn't eat pork or beef, and it's like masala, and it's just a liquid kind of thing. And I never really, like, as a kid apparently I loved it, but as I grew up I never really did. And it's weird because I don't know, it's just While my tastes are very international, I kind of hate the food where my roots are because it's like the way my parents cook pumpkin or bacon. I'm sorry, eggplant or spinach or zucchini or whatever vegetable of the week it is. They chop it up, put it in a pot, and cook it for hours until it becomes mush, as I describe it. And while it probably tastes good, like I don't typically enjoy it. It feels weird and it tastes weird to me. I haven't had it in years, decades even. And I just kind of strayed away from it. And this book kind of helped me realize that food is a very powerful thing. Its title is Crying in H Mart, which is, if you don't know, H Mart is an American chain that specializes in Korean and Asian food. There's a few all around the country, and it's one that I really want to go to now. Reading this book, I've been to it before years ago, pre-pandemic, of course, and haven't been since. But I really want to go back. I just want to like buy everything and experiment and taste everything. And it made me realize that the way Michelle is connecting with her mother once she finds out that she's dying is through food. Like food was her main connection, and being true to those roots. While she struggled as an artist trying to make it from across the country, like East Coast. She lived in Oregon. She moved to the East Coast and like tried to write music, and she only succeeded after the death of her mother when she wrote Psychopomp. At least made it big. The way connecting through your heritage is food. That's the number one thing it is, and I feel like I don't know how to do that. Like I cook pretty much everything. I experiment with all sorts of food. Japanese, Chinese, Mexican, European. I really try to like diversify my palate, and like Korean food seems like it'd be a lot of fun, but I don't know the food that my parents cook. And that's something this book has made me realize. It's that you need to appreciate your parents while you have them. My parents are in their 50s and 60s, and they're only getting older. And I don't know how to cook anything from my culture. Well, I kind of do. It's like roti is a staple, and it's just flour, oil, and water. When I made those scuffed tortillas the other day, I don't think I even recorded that because I felt so bad. Tasted good. It's basically the same process. I felt like I was doing the same thing. It's just a slightly different kind of dough. Instead of animal fat, you just use oil, and different ratios maybe, but that's it. And I don't know how to make a curry. Curry is different in all parts of the world, but the curry that my family makes, I don't know how to do. Pumpkin and squash and all of the vegetables that they make, I think I could probably do easily. It's just chop them up, toss them in a pot, and let it cook. Stir it, and then that's pretty much it. But I don't know. Like I've never done that. Well, I've chopped vegetables and everything in the kitchen. I've never actively made it on my own or actively like participated when making a curry because I don't eat it. And I feel like that's definitely a way that you should use to connect with your family, because that's the number one thing like you can bond over. It's cooking, it's food. That's how people have bonded over millennia, and it's not something that I've ever really done with my own culture. I've done it with dozens of others, but never my own. And that's really weird to think about, and it's something that this book makes me want to explore and start doing. Because you only have your family for a very limited time, and it's, it's something that you really need to focus on. For Michelle, learning to cook Korean food was, reading about that is just this is how I do it. This is how I like keep my mother's legacy going. It's by embracing my Korean in me, cooking food, and like there's a whole thing about her toward like after her mother dies, like learning how to make kimchi, learning how to make staple dishes, learning how to make it was like rice and pine nuts or something like that, where it's like protein heavy, where somebody who's sick, that's what you feed them. And like it's a whole thing, and it's wild to like read about and see. And this memoir is just incredible. Like I could not put it down once I started reading it. So it's a really good book, and I urge you to all read it. I'll try to leave links where you can get a copy. And yeah, and like all of her music is outstanding. It's very indie pop, like lo-fi kind of feeling, and it's great background noise to her to this memoir. Um, the her album Jubilee, her album Psychopomp, I think it's like Sounds from Another Universe is the other one. If I look over here and Spotify loads, and it did not load. Uh, it is Soft Sounds from Another Planet. Close enough. She also wrote the soundtrack for Sable, which I need to learn more about, and I probably will after I stop recording this. This came out. I think this is her latest album actually. Came out August 27th, 2021, and Jubilee came out June 4th. So yeah, her latest album is that, but she has a live album, Live at the Electric Lady. Like everything she's done is so good, and it really like she was named Times like was it last year? I think it was last year. Like she was named like top 100 innovators or something, like people to look out for, something along those lines. I talked about it in like the last vlog. I talked about Michelle. Go watch that if you haven't. And yeah, she's just an incredible person, and her memoir is just, it's a beautiful thing, and it makes you really want to connect with people that you care about while you still have them. Something that you should really, really focus on. Anyway, I've rambled on long enough. This is going on 18 minutes now, so that's what I'm going to call it here for today. Thank you all for watching. I hope to see you tomorrow. And until then,